Hello everyone, thank you for joining our webinar. My name is Maria and I am Partner Marketing Manager at SOFT4. Today we are going to present you SOFT4RealEstate product, and I would like to inform you that if you have any questions, please type them into the question box on your control panel. I will bring them up in the end of presentation during Q&A session. And of course, if you will be interested to talk about potential partnership, we will arrange one-on-one calls. Today, my colleague Laura will present this product, and Donatas, who is the product architect, will show you the system. So I think it's time to start our webinar. And hi, Laura, and now it's your time.
Hi, Maria. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. So first of all, I really hope that all of you are safe and healthy, and just want to know if you can hear us well. So in case not, just let us know in the chat window that something is wrong. And let me start by a short introduction of who we are and what we are here for today. I'm a partner manager at SOFT4, which is an ISV, a registered brand of the company SOFT4 Baltic, which is located in Lithuania, working with industry-specific solutions since 2008. And I'm going to share our insights on why vertical solutions can benefit your business and how can vertical solutions strengthen your portfolio. And we'll tell you all you need to know about SOFT4 Real Estate solution to start expanding your presence in the real estate industry. And then my colleague Donatas, who, as Maria mentioned, is the product architect, will show you the solution in action. Today, I will overlook the situation and talk a bit about verticalization, what customer wants today, and how it is related to the vertical solutions. We'll present the SOFT4 Real Estate solution that can help scale your business and address your clients. You will see the solution in action, and after that, we will discuss about what to look at when choosing an ISV, also learn some details about partnership with SOFT4. Just recently, I've read a post on Facebook saying, imagine yourself 10 years ago, when somebody would tell you about the year 2020. At least I would have thought that this is some crazy person talking to me, because this was so unexpected. Think about some time ago when none of us even had an idea on how we will be living today. And I'm not even talking about the change in technologies, which is a long-term thing. We are planning visits, projects, also vacation or events. Just recently, some of us should have met in Directions Asia. We cannot deny the impact on each of us in our Dynamics community. Many are working from home, facing challenges in the daily life, and some even directly impacted by the virus. But the good thing is that we can adapt very fast to the changing situations in life. Even though the borders are closed, we cannot go to our customers or partners, we find a way, right? We do meetings and presentations online, we do implementations remotely. The thing is that we never know what the future holds, but we can find the good sides of every situation. I had few discussions with our partners all around the world, and they are in different situations. Some of them are even busier, some of them have slowed down, but the common thing between them is that they realize that when the customers are postponing their decisions, they can use this time to think about the strategies and other opportunities than they are used to for scaling their business and offering customers what they need, especially focus on vertical solutions that can strengthen their portfolio. So before learning about verticals, let me start by talking about why to go vertical. The customer behavior is changing very fast. Top of mind concerns for customers have transformed over the past 10 years. What we see and hear from the partners and the end users themselves, they're less dependent on traditional supplier relationships and are concerned about the time required to develop and implement custom solutions. Customers tend to focus very much on risk in recent years. Now solutions should be fast, they should be easy, they should be as low risk as possible. For example, SOFT4 Real Estate solution is very easy to implement and learn, and just a couple of years ago, we have implemented the solution in the Kingdom of Bahrain in just 3 days. Recently, I hear more and more from the partners that customers do not want customizations. They want standard, already built solution. Vertical solutions play a major role in Microsoft Dynamics world. And what is it? It is pre-customized for the specific industry or type of business. It is based on the best practice in the specific industry. It is developed in cooperation with companies and partners in the specific industry, and most often implemented by a partner who knows the specific industry. At SOFT4, in recent years, we started getting more inquiries from VC partners all over the world for our BC-based solutions. Partners started understanding that with a well-developed add-on, they will have less confusion during the project, as the implementation will go faster and smoother. They will gain a happier customer because the overall software solution will fit the customer's business better, and no headaches once it comes to a system upgrade. And in some cases, you even have to act on it now. Like, for example, with our SOFT4RealEstate solution, the time to earn the margins from it is now. You don't have enough time to build the solution, promote it. Customers need it now. And as one partner recently said, many of the partners are already late to start, but better late than never. So in this example, partners started to do some marketing actions and approaching their customers with SOFT4 prepared materials right away. And now I would like to know a bit about you. Now we will have a survey popping up. So the question is, do you work with vertical solutions? So we will have some time for you to answer the question.
Okay, I can see that most of attendees working with our other partner solutions.
Good to know. It means that we are moving to the right direction. So now let's talk about going vertical with SOFT4. For an introduction, a few quick facts about SOFT4. It was established 12 years ago, and during that time, we made partnerships with more than 60 partners, completed more than 300 projects globally by now, and we do annual survey, and the result shows that 92% of our customers would recommend our services to others. For those who does not know anything about SOFT4, it is a registered brand covering 5 solutions. SOFT4 Leasing for asset finance management, SOFT4 Factoring for factoring management, in other words, selling of receivables, SOFT4 Leasing for lease accounting management according to the new IFRS 16, AASB 16, or ASC 842 requirements, SOFT4RealEstate, which will be talking today, for property management for commercial and mixed property management companies, and SOFT4 Inventory for inventory management solution for production and commerce companies. Today we will focus on real estate, as you probably know, but if you would like to hear more about other solutions, let's schedule a discovery call after the webinar. So going further, all of the solutions are certified for Microsoft Dynamics, NAV, and Business Central. And what does it mean? It means that the solution was designed for the specific industry. It is easy to expand and maintain. It is constantly being developed. We do releases after new version of BC is released, recertifying the solution each year. Also, it is trusted by no less than 10 companies with the new version. SOFT4 Leasing, SOFT4RealEstate, SOFT4RealEstate Tenant Portal, and SOFT4RealEstate solutions can be found on the app stores already. And let's go to the SOFT4RealEstate. But before that, I would like to know a bit more about you and your experience with the real estate industry. So now we will again have a time for survey, and just to imagine what is your experience with the real estate sector.
Okay, I see that majority of attendees have a prospect now.
Really? That's really good. So I hope that after the webinar, you will contact me and we can talk about the next steps with your prospects. And to continue, as mentioned before, the solution is for commercial property management companies that owns or manages third-party commercial properties like shopping centers, office buildings, industrial spaces, university properties, and other untypical commercial properties like yachts, parking lots. We even have a customer who manages buses that go on tours for concerts, or other customer who manages caravans. So it might be a fit for some untypical property management companies too. Solution covers customer functionality from customer management, work orders, CAM fees, to contract management, revenue forecast, reporting, and also self-service tenant portal. Solution allows to track and manage lease information, speed up new contract preparation, improve customer service, especially using self-service tenant portal, also control and distribute common area maintenance fees, enjoy real-time reporting, and manage work orders. But you will see that in action when Donatas will present the solution. Clients can enjoy Power BI reports built based on the most common KPIs of the industry. And who would be the ideal customer for SOFT4RealEstate? The most important thing is that they would be involved in property management business, of course. It operates the property and focuses more on the commercial property sector. The size, they're supposed to have several properties to rent, or have hundreds or thousands of tenants. Prospect can be big and have a small part of the property management. And the cloud customer typically is 1 to 5 users, and the standard customer about 10 users. Implementation time of the solution, if rapid start with the standard solution, would be about 5 days. If the average size implementation, it's 1 to 3 months. And the size of the customer, we consider this to be the small customer if it is up to 100 lease units or 1 to 5 system users. The average customer up to 1,000 lease units or 10 to 15 system users, and more, it is a large customer. By now, we have completed about 30 projects with SOFT4RealEstate, and the customers are located in Europe, US, Australia, Asia, Africa. And I think it's time for you to see the solution in action. So now we will give presenter rights to Donatas.
Okay, hello everyone. I hope you can see my screen, and today I will demonstrate the SOFT4RealEstate add-on. I will go through the process which our solution covers, and I will demonstrate the capabilities of our solution. So to begin with, we have created a role center for the property manager with some main activities and related items just on the role center. So all the most used activities can be accessed from one place. So to begin with, I will talk about the lease units and properties. So how you can define all those records, set the attributes, set areas. After that, I will talk about the services. Services must be defined in the system before creating the contracts. And the main, let's say, document in our solution is the lease contract. So I will show and explain how these contracts are created, what details should be set up there. So contract details, pricing, and other options. And then I will demonstrate how the invoicing is done. Also, I will quickly overview the tenant portal. So the property manager's tenants can log in and check some details or create a work order. So to start with, I will go and show you the lease unit list. So here is the place where property manager should define all the property details and set the structure of those properties, so specify the lease units, set up the areas. So the property card looks like this. It has general information, so identification number, description of the property, then object information such as address, and some numbers like total building area. Other numbers like leasable area, common area are calculated based on lease unit areas and contract details. There are some more sections on property card that you can put some data in. Also, you can upload some pictures and you can define different cost allocation methods. So one of the features of SOFT4RealEstate add-on is cost allocation among the tenants. So it can be done not only by area, but also by some custom proportions that you can set up on the property on the property card. So, for example, some custom allocation rules can be used for dividing the costs, let's say for elevator maintenance, so that, for example, first floor tenants wouldn't be assigned any costs, but second, third, and other floor tenants can be charged based on that. So those details are defined on the property card. So I will show you now the floor card. It is quite easy and simple. So we have just floor identification code. We are linking this floor to a particular building. And this field defines that this is the lease unit group, so we can assign other units to this group. So this is how the structure can be made. And the building and the building unit is the lowest level on this list. And it has also description, identification code, and in this case it is linked to a particular floor, and unit has its area. Area might change, as for example in office you are moving some walls, making some office bigger, another smaller. So this can be done by changing lease unit area. All the changes are kept in the system, so we would just need to set the area changing date, set the new area, and system would keep track of all those changes. In order, you need to do some recalculations for the past period, where if there were some changes on the unit areas, so system would know which area to use in the calculations. Because you can set up some prices that are based on area, so it's mandatory to keep records of all the changes. So in our case, we have building, floor, and unit, but there is possibility to set up other levels. So you can have group of buildings, some other levels that you can think of, some area like the city area, for example. So there is no limit on the levels you can create. For example, for residential buildings, we can have the group named villa sites, And then we have some different sites and separate residential buildings can be created as a separate lease units. So that's how the lease units and properties are created and entered in the system, and how you can access those entries. So now I will move on back to the role center, and I will show you the services. Services can be created based on the property manager's processes, and for example, how detailed they would like to invoice their tenants. Because in some cases, the common area charges are charged as a fixed fee every month, and then every year the service charge reconciliation is being created, and actual expenses are compared to those repayments, and then you can issue additional invoice or credit memo for the difference. Also, you can define calculation so that every month you would split all the actual costs among your tenants, and then issue invoices. So actual expenses would be re-invoiced for the tenants. So no reconciliation would be made. For direct utilities such as electricity, it is possible to use meters for tracking the consumption. So it's in most cases it's used for electricity and water. So you can charge your tenants based on the actual consumption. So I will show that a little bit later. But probably the main service is rent, which would be used in lease agreements, and I will show the rent service card. So it's quite simple, but there are some fields that are quite important. So of course we have the identification number and description, and then we have the posting groups. So we have general product posting group and VAT or tax group for calculation of taxes, for specifying the rules. So these would define to which GL account the revenue would go, and the VAT or tax calculation code for calculation or not calculation of taxes. So based on this setup and combination together with customer posting groups, system would know to which GL account revenue would go and whether taxes should be applied or not. So this is defined on the service card. So now once properties and services are defined in the system, it is possible to create lease agreement. So I will go to existing lease agreements, and I will show one of the examples that is currently ready in the system. So the contract card, similar to other documents in Business Central, has the header and lines. So on the contract header, we have contract number, we have default contract starting and ending dates. So these dates would be default for all the contract lines. Then we have building number, and so this means that in this building we are creating the contract. And on the contract lines, we will be able to select only lease units that are inside this building. Then customer should be selected from the customer list. So we are using standard Business Central customers as the tenants. So so that we would have all the functionality related to the customer, and we can access from the SOFT4RealEstate add-on. Then there are some contract parameters, like contract type. You can set the salesperson who is responsible for this contract. We can use dimensions. Some dimensions come from the customer. Also, it is possible to set the default dimensions to the property or lease unit. So those dimensions also would come to the lease contract, and later on would be transferred to the sales invoice, and that would be created regarding this contract. Then we have invoice delivery method, where we can define whether this invoice should be sent by email, or maybe it should be printed and delivered in some other way, probably send it by regular post or delivered, I don't know, by hand and through the courier or something like that. So there is a function which would send the batch of invoices. So you can filter number of invoices, and system would create them to the tenants. So it wouldn't be needed to send all the invoices one by one, but only just for those contracts that have this field specified as delivery by email. And then on the contract lines, we need to specify the services that are being provided for this tenant based on this contract. So in this contract, I have 5 services. So probably all the contracts would have the rent service. Then we have the lease unit number on the contract lines. So this allows us to lease several lease units in one contract. We can have the same service number on different lines and have different lease unit number. So you can lease different units in one contract. Then we have dates on the lines. As I mentioned, by default, they are the same as on the contract header, but it is possible to change those dates. And for example, if you have rent-free period for, let's say, 3 months, so you can specify that rent would start on the 1st of April, let's say, but all the other services should be charged starting from January. Then we have pricing fields. So it is possible to set up different kinds of prices for different services. Let's say for rent, we have price per area. So this means that the total amount for rent would be calculated by multiplying unit area, which is currently 150, by unit price, which is 15. And we can set different price periods. So it can be monthly price, yearly price, quarterly, and so on. For electricity, for example, we can set the price which can be based on meter. So if the direct utilities would be calculated based on meter readings, so we can set the price which would be for 1 unit of the meter. So for electricity, it might be kilowatt hour. For water, it might be cubic meter, and so. So we can also set the expiration date of that price. So this allows us to have different prices for one contract line. So this might be applied for rent, for example. If you have step rent, that should be increased every year, for example. So we don't need to change and add different lines on the contract. You can just set that on the pricing, so that one price would be valid for the first year. Second year, you can enter another price. Also, it is possible to define price indexing rules, so that price can be all the prices, for example, that should be indexed by consumer price index, would be changed once they should be. So after you would enter the new index value, you can re-index all the prices so that you don't need to go to each contract and change the prices manually. Another price type is fixed, so you can set up the price which can be fixed and not depending on the area. So for example, this price, the old price would be valid till the end of 2021, and I will create new price which would be fixed, and it would start at the beginning of year 2022. So that the total amount that you would enter as a unit price would be treated as the final amount of this contract for the rent. So for the first few years, let's say, system would use $15 or euros or any other local currency per area, but starting 2022, system would start charging 4,000. And the last type is turnover. So it is possible in most cases for retailers, for tenants who are actually the shops, to charge some fee based on their sales amount. So it is possible to track clients' turnover if you have the agreements that they would provide those numbers to the property manager. So some charges treated as percentage from the total amount during that period can be also entered as the type of calculation of this charge. So so that would be about the contract lines. It might seem a bit complex for the first time, but once you start using it and start creating contracts, it's not so easy. Well, it's easier than it looks like for the first time. So now I will move on to the next section of the lease contract, which is called documents. So you can upload any type of files and attach it to the contract. Also, you can use this documents drop area and just drag and drop any file from your computer. And entry would be created here and assigned to this contract. So those files are stored directly in the database, and any user can open them. Also, you can define different contract printing templates as a custom report layouts, and using the data set from the contract details, those templates can be filled in by the data from the software. So once you choose the document type and document template, so you can have different, for example, contract templates for residential tenant, commercial tenant, and so. And then you can just click open, so system would pop up the Word document with the data filled in. So that would be about the lease contracts. There are a few other features like date reminders, so that you can set up a reminder that would be sent, for example, 3 months before ending of the contract. So we can specify the date from which the reminder sending date should be calculated. We can define different types. So in this case, 3 months before ending of the contract, which would be the 1st of October 2024. I would get the email notifying that this contract is going to expire and I need to take some actions, probably talk to the client regarding contract extension or termination, and so that I wouldn't miss the end of the contract. Also, all the history of calculations are kept in service ledger entries. Soon I will show how to create those calculations. You can print the lease contracts in the template you would like to use. You can check the customer ledger only by this contract. So you can check all the invoices and payments made only related to this contract. So once all the contracts are ready, we can go back to the role center and perform periodic activities. In most cases, most of the clients do monthly invoicing. Some of our clients do it quarterly. It might be also mixed. Some contracts can be invoiced monthly, some contracts can be invoiced quarterly. Maybe some contracts should be invoiced only yearly. So before invoicing, if there are any services that charges should be calculated based on some variables, like client's turnover or meter readings, so property manager should gather those details. So for example, for meter readings, it is possible to export latest meter readings to the Excel sheet, then fill them in, for example, water and electricity consumptions, and import that file back to the system. So system would create, display all those readings here in the journal. So meter journal has meter number, lease unit number, service number. Okay, cleaning shouldn't be here. It can't be counted as meter. And then we would have meter readings read out from, so that would be the last month reading and the current meter reading, and we would have the difference. And based on this difference and the price that is set it up as price for this one unit of electricity, so charge would be calculated. Similar with client's turnover, it is possible to import client's turnover data from the Excel sheet, and here we would have the lease unit number, its contract number, and what was the sales amount in that particular period. And based on this amount and the percentage set it up on the contract, system would calculate the charge. So all the calculations for monthly billing are done in service journal. So service journal has a function create lines where we would set some parameters and run the calculations. So we can set the document number, let's say in July 2020. Then we would set the calculation starting date, 1st of July, calculation ending date, the end of July, posting date, let's say 1st of July. Then it is possible to filter. So in most cases, calculations are done for separate buildings. So you can filter, for example, only for particular building, so that calculations would be done only for the contracts in that building. In our case, I will run calculations for all the contracts. So system goes through all the valid contracts and checks the prices of each line. If the price is based on some variables, so then it checks the meter readings or turnover entries. If the price is based on area or fixed, so system can calculate the charge. And we get the journal lines as the result of calculations that are created for each contract line. So here we see and the service number, lease unit number, customer number and name. Then we see the service starting and ending date. So in most cases, it would be the same as we specified in the request page before running the calculations. But in case there are contracts that starts or ends in the middle of the month, let's say, so we would see the different, for example, ending date. And system would calculate the proportion for that contract which expires in the middle of the period. It wouldn't charge the full monthly amount. And we get the amounts here. So Service Journal, as other journals in the Business Central, are editable, and if you see that something is not correct, you can delete one line or all the lines, run the calculations again. So once they are not posted to the system, it is possible to do some changes. So it is possible to compare these amounts of some previous period, let's say last month, and check if there are no big differences. And if needed, you can delete the lines, for example, change something in lease contract, let's say pricing, or add some services, or if you see that for some services charges were not calculated, so probably meter readings or turnover entries are missing. So you can run those calculations again. Once you confirm that these calculations are correct and you are ready for invoicing, you would post these service journal lines, and system would create service ledger entries. So those entries are linked to the lease unit, lease contract, customer. Basically, they have all the information that we saw on the service journal. And based on those calculations, we can create sales invoices. So there is another step, create invoices. Here we also have some parameters. We can set invoice posting date, document date, let's say it will be the same. You can define number series, and you can filter those service ledger entries again. So you can run the invoice creation for particular building, for particular contract, client, service, or any other field from the lease, from the service ledger entries. So I will set that I will include only 1st of July entries that I posted in previous step, and run the invoice creation. Invoices are created for the contract. So if there were several lines from one contract in the service journal, so they are combined to one invoice. So that's why I get less invoices than I have lines in the service journal. So now I will go to the sales invoice list, and I will check one of the invoices that have been created. Let's say this one. So on the invoice, this is the standard Business Central invoice. So that's the place how it's connected to the Business Central standard features. So from the lease contracts, you can automatically generate sales invoices. So here we have the customer number, posting date, due date, and on the lines we have a GL account. And as I mentioned in the beginning, on the service card, we have set it up the posting group, product posting group. So based on that, revenue account is chosen here on the sales invoice line. Also, we have a few fields on the sales invoice line for linking to the property management side. So we have service number, service starting and ending date, lease contract number, lease unit number. Also, all the dimensions are transferred from the lease contract to the sales invoice. So here we can see that some dimensions came from the customer, and we have property dimension on the lines and on the sales invoice header as well. So probably most of the dimensions would come automatically, and users wouldn't need to assign them manually to the sales invoices. And then, yeah, standard procedures of sales of receivable activities should be followed. So posting the sales invoices, then sending them to the tenants. As I mentioned, we have also a function which would send invoices, the batch invoices, for all the created invoices. And yeah, standard features for reminders, finance charge memos, and tracking customer debts. So that would be the main process of issuing the invoices. That is, in most cases, done monthly. As I mentioned, there is a possibility to reconcile the service charges. So it is possible to assign costs from the purchase invoices to particular building and set the cost allocation methods. So on the purchase invoice for some services, let's say we have cleaning expenses, it is possible to assign those to particular property, set the service dates, and set the allocation code. So system would know to what proportions these total costs should be allocated among the tenants in this building. And if those costs wouldn't be allocated on monthly basis, and well, actual expenses wouldn't be distributed for the tenants, you can perform building reconciliation. In most cases, it would be done each year. And that reconciliation would look like this. We have a building reconciliation card where we would specify the property code, then the reconciliation period, and the function calculate lines would gather all the expenses that are assigned to this building, and then we can check reports per each contract. So system would gather the prepayments made by the tenants for this building, and then compare against the expenses assigned to that tenant lease units. So, for example, here we have just a couple lines of expenses, but the total amount is 15,451. We have the total share of the building, the share of this tenant premises, and then the proportion of total costs are allocated to this particular contract, to this particular tenant. And then we have the calculation result. So allocated amount from the total building costs is 2,451.32 cents. But this tenant has made the prepayments of 13,000. So there's a difference of 11,000. For different tenants, there would be different numbers. For example, this one has bigger premises, so larger amount is allocated as the cost. But this tenant didn't make any prepayments. So we have a positive difference. And those differences can be charged for the tenants or credit memos can be created if the prepayment amount is higher. So once we confirm and invoice this reconciliation, so the result would be additional invoice or credit memo for the whole year expenses and prepayments. Also, system suggests, well, it shows this year average cost per month per area. So you can define new prepayment price based on this year expenses. So that probably next year, if you would have the similar expenses, so you wouldn't get such big differences from the expenses assigned for the tenants and prepayments made by the tenants. So this reconciliation would compare the costs allocated to the tenants and prepayments made by the tenants. So on the role center, we have a Power BI section where you can link your own Power BI reports, or you can use our set of standard reports that we have created. We have some real estate activities, so we have contracts, sales invoices, customers. Lease area map is can be uploaded, for example, to a floor map, and then you can mark lease units on that map, and with different color we can see that this one is vacant currently for today, and all the others that are red are rented. So just a visual information on which units are currently vacant and rented. So for example, you can probably suggest this unit for the clients who are renting these offices. Let's say maybe they want to expand their premises. Also, we have a lease unit availability chart, which shows rented and vacant units in some period of time. So we can see that vacancy is increasing because contracts are expiring in those periods. Also, you can set up maintenance tasks that can be linked to some assets in the building. So just like regular elevator checks, air conditioning system checks. So those tasks can be assigned to some employees or let's say system users, so they can check their tasks and their when they are expected to be completed. So now the last thing, I will quickly show you the tenant portal. I have mentioned that we have such portal for the property manager clients, so that they can check some details or create some requests from the portal. So there is a work order part where tenants can can order something. For example, if they would like to report about some issue or request some services. So requesting a service might be additional cleaning, as in this case. So clients might create a work order for let's say additional cleaning, some specific security if they are holding some event in their premises. So they would just select one of their active contracts, select the lease unit in that contract, request for the service, and set the appointment date. If they would like to report about something not working, or some, let's say, pipe is leaking, water is leaking, or any other maintenance task, they can also do that by creating new work order. That work order would appear here on the back office system as the work order. And then once it's confirmed from here, the tenant would see a different status on the portal. Also, tenants can check their contract details. So there are basic information about the contracts. They can also check their transactions history. So data from the customer ledger is here. So they can check the invoices, payments, and what is the balance at the date. So they can check what amount is still remaining to be paid. Also, they can edit their details. So if they change the address or contact email address, they can add those details here. So responsible property manager would get a notification that customer has updated the details. So that would be the tenant portal for the property manager tenants to log in and to perform some self-service activities. So checking the invoices and payments, usually it's good, so they wouldn't bother the accountants for asking the information and make it easy to report other problems. So that would be the main features of the SOFT4RealEstate add-on. There are some more, of course, items that we are just short of time, and I cannot show all the actions. But I hope it was clear enough for you to understand the possibilities and what our software is capable to do. So let's go back to Laura to continue.
Thank you, Donatas. Yeah, sorry for interruption. So thank you for the demonstration. And so we were talking about verticals and going vertical, and you saw vertical solution in action. And the next question you should be asking yourself is why to go with ISV. So by partnering with ISVs, companies can rise to meet the changing needs of their customers in the following ways: offerings are broad and cross many industries. Customizing solutions for each customer would be timely and expensive, and you can bundle software and services to offer one single solution. The solutions that come from partnering have already been tried and tested, making them low risk to implement. And customers don't like to buy the cat in the bag. They want to see what they are buying before they are buying. And just a couple of days ago, we had a discussion with the colleague about the successfully closed deal. And one of the reasons the client decided to go with us was clear proposal. The client knew from the start what he gets for what money, and other suppliers were saying that they can do everything the client needs, but that was undefined in the scope and money. And from the experience working with the partners and their feedback, also Microsoft, I can distinguish top 5 benefits of working with an ISV. First, meeting customer demand. And what I mean by that, you as a partner can offer business-ready solutions and reduce time to value. Increased revenue. Utilizing the cloud and ISV package solutions opens up revenue with substantially lower the price of investment. For example, no hardware or infrastructure costs. Verticals open new markets and the sales opportunities that the BCVAR partner could not gain from without an industry-specific solution. Can offer differentiated solutions. With the many marketplaces emerging, it is important to differentiate yourself from the pack. Most competitor marketplaces do not have the level of support required to meet the ever-evolving customer demands. With the breadth and depth of the Microsoft ISV partner channel, your company is positioned to succeed. Strengthen customer relationships. Using ISV solutions to drive deep conversations with your customers can help you uncover additional needs and pain points. In order to sell to a customer working in a particular industry, the partner needs industry-specific knowledge, which they usually do not have. An ISV can pass on the concentrated know-how fast, so the partner can speak the customer's language and be able to complete the sale. It helps to become a trusted advisor to your customer. And by combining Microsoft offerings and innovative market technologies from ISVs, you can showcase yourself as the innovative and forward-thinking partner the customer wants to work with. If you decide to go with the ISV, it is important to choose the reliable one. I try to find 5 ways to distinguish between reliable and non-reliable ISVs. So first criteria, solution is certified and has its own object range. Also should be ready for the new Microsoft trends. We had cases when solution was hard-coded into an AV and it would bring a lot of problems. There are clear instructions on how to implement the solution, preferably by the partners themselves, because many ISVs just sell the products and do not want or do not do implementation, so it should be easy for you to implement it yourself. For example, we at SOFT4 support our partners on the implementations. We have prepared the partner package with all the needed instructions, materials for the partner to start and implement. ISV provides clear pricing and margin guidelines because we all know that Indonesia is different from USA in terms of purchase power. ISV has a good marketing team. We at SOFT4 are ready to help partners offering different options for marketing support. And the last but probably most important one is that ISV's team would be a pleasure to work with, because once we were searching for a construction add-on to support our SOFT4RealEstate solution sale and faced that some ISVs did not reply at all, some replied after a week, some did not have any partner program. And as one partner recently said, after I added him to our partner space, quoting, "I underestimated the difficulty to keep everything structured and organized." So the partner should be aimed to be there for you. So talking about reliable and non-reliable ISVs brings me to SOFT4. So let me tell you shortly about what can you expect if you decide to partner with us. At SOFT4, we offer 2 types of partnerships so that you can choose what's best for you based on your resources and goals. We provide sales, functional, and technical trainings depending on the type of partnership chosen. As mentioned previously, you can choose from few options for marketing support. Also, in order for you to start easier, we have prepared newsletter templates for every product so that partner can start acting now and check out with their customers whether they would need such a solution. All of our solutions have a separate object range. If needed, you can adjust and develop the solution yourself. You can implement solutions independently after the first projects together with us. And margin depends on the partnership chosen and the volume of sales. It can reach up to 50%. We have also created a partner space so that partners can have all the needed information at hand once they need it. We are very happy that so many partners decided to expand their business and strengthen their portfolio with SOFT4 solutions. So for the becoming partners or partners to be, I would like that you think about what is the possibility for the client to choose vertical add-on providing partner with their industry know-how, which is constantly being developed and maintained versus money and time consuming customizations. Also, what is the possibility for the client to choose fast implementation versus long development, especially when the cloud is getting more and more popular? And how much more margin you could earn by selling repeatable products and projects versus one-time consuming project, which requires more resources. Also, how much does one lost potential client cost you? And to think about that in 3 years, one SaaS sale earns more for the SOFT4 partners than one license sale. And lastly, I would like you to ask yourself a question. How would your business be impacted if you could scale to meet niche market demands, provide innovative solutions, and outpace your competitors? I hope that this current situation happening in the world will give us all the time needed to think about the opportunities we have, build strategies and connections needed, focus on new vertical horizons for your business in order to avoid the negative impact of the coronavirus situation, and despite that, to expand your business even more. If you decide to go vertical with us, or you even have a specific prospect in mind, as I learned from Maria that most of you have, let me know by dropping me an email at laura@soft4.eu, and we will arrange one-on-one calls to discuss possible partnership and share our partner program with you. Also, after the webinar, you will get a survey, so please fill it out. We would really appreciate it. And now we have some time for questions.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Donatas, for the presentation. It is time to move forward to questions, and we have few of them. So, is service card different than the resource cards in BC?
Yeah, we have separate cards for the services, just not to use the resources because they're used for different kind of activities in standard Business Central. So we are just having our like own items or let's say services, yeah, to be used in these contracts. So, well, there are similarities, but these are different tables.
Okay, thank you, Donatas. How is localizations handled?
So usually the partners handle the localizations, and if the project should include the localization features, so we are working together with the partners, and they are responsible for localization part, and in most cases for accounting and finance part, and we just take care of the property management solution. So we can there are two ways of implementing the projects. First projects usually are done together with the partners and ourselves. So we also train the partner so that later projects can be implemented only by partners. So, but yeah, localizations should be covered by local partners.
Okay, does your portal use SharePoint?
That I can take myself. Actually, technically, the information lays in the SharePoint, but once you are in the partner space and Teams, you have all the information there. Or sorry, if I was talking about partner space, but maybe the question is about the tenant portal.
If it's about the tenant portal, so currently we don't, we are not linking it to the SharePoint, and it's a separate system.
Okay, one more question. Does solution work in Switzerland?
Yeah,
yes.
why, it works everywhere where clients can access Business Central, so they can use our add-on without any limitations.
If there is no pure cloud, meaning that there is no Business Central in specific country, we typically implement on-prem solutions or subscription, meaning it's on-prem, but the clients are paying monthly, and it is in most cases, it's like a cloud. We use one-click factory usually, and we have many clients who are using exactly subscription, not pure cloud.
Okay, one more question. Can your ISV solution exist with other ISV solutions in the, I'm not sure if it is that or Sailbase or Siebase, because it's like written like Siebase.
Yes, it can. Maybe if needed a more technical explanation, Donatas can cover that, but the solution can work with our other ISV add-ons. For example, we have a case where the client needed both of our solutions, SOFT4RealEstate and SOFT4Leasing, so we combined those two together. But that is probably the value of the Microsoft ISV channel and verticalization, because you can offer the customer all the add-ons they need without customizing a lot and taking the time for that. So you can add all the add-ons they need and they work together.
Okay, thank you, Laura. One more question. We have a few of them. Can you set financial budget by your property? By property?
Yes, I didn't mention, but once you create a property, so a property dimension with that value is also created. So you can create budgets per property using just dimension values. And also there is a feature, a function, which can create budget entries based on existing contract details. So if you have prices set it up on the contracts, so the system can suggest some budget lines for the revenue for rent service.
Okay, one more. Can track reserved fund by category by property, for example, roof replacement fund, HVAC replacement fund?
I didn't got the question very well, actually. I would need to get probably more details about this requirement to discuss. So maybe we can provide a written answer to this one.
Okay, please write us an email.
Yeah, that I wanted to say the same.
Okay,
or can
so
you see the email of the person who asked?
okay, so you have covered all the questions for today. Thank you for attending our webinar. Stay safe and yeah, and have a good day.
Yeah, and I also just want to say that thank you all for attending, and I'm really happy that there were so many questions. It means you're interested. Really happy for that. And once again, if you decide to go vertical with us or just want to have some discussion or you have a specific prospect in mind, then just let me know by dropping me an email, which is here, laura@soft4.eu, and then I will make sure that we have a call and discuss all the things. So once again, thank you for joining, and thank you, Donatas, for presentation. And yeah, have a nice rest of the day.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.